Last time on Grand Oof Reviews. So, when there was a sequel released, I was both extremely excited and extremely nervous. Could developer Rocksteady follow up with their previous hit? The answer is yes. Yes, they can. All in all, the game is easily an A. I highly, highly recommend it.
You've become what you've always fought against, and I will stop.
It seems you have been training since last we fought.
But make no mistake, I have grown stronger since. The day of judgment is upon you, scum. You dare? Yes, I dare. And I do not come alone. I come with strong allies. Target sighted! Watch out! 'Cause here comes the spider! Wait a minute! You're not Spider-Man! Dude, whatever. This is DLC content. Enough! I now must squash you like the ants that you are. And now, for the thrilling conclusion. You brute! Is that blood? Well, that was a bit of a letdown. Yeah, tell me about it. No, it's okay, fine, I'm alright, thanks, don't help me up or anything. So, now what do we do? I guess since Zero got the kill shot, we get to watch his ending. Oh, is that the one with the Silver Surfer and the... Yes, that's his ending. Oh, man. Look, if you guys hate my endings so much, why don't we just get Wolverine's, where he goes into the strip joint and he gets a lap dance from Morgan? Can you do that? I don't see him here, do you? Well, no, but so who's gonna stop us? Good point. Let's do it. Poof. How about an air hockey table? That was the weirdest damn dream. Hey everybody, it's Oof again. Let's go ahead and go on with part 2 and go ahead and review Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So if you've read my text review at all, you already know that I feel pretty strongly about the first version of the game, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Fate of Two Worlds. It's a lot like Tatsunoko vs. Capcom, which makes sense given it's done by the same director, and I really loved that game as well. In terms of its style, both graphically and control-wise, and in general, just in the terms of how the games feel, they're very similar to each other, which to me, I really liked. So, that having been said, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 succeeds because it is more or less still the same game. And by that I mean it is the same game. True, the developers did go ahead and tweak the controls a tiny bit. Mostly they changed the X factor and made it less unfair. And of course they also gave us a couple characters some new moves and animations, as well as changing some graphical things which were more or less unnecessary. But other than a couple new stages, and of course the additional new characters, there's really nothing new to the game. Which is not bad, because as long as you liked the first game, you're gonna love this game too. And to be perfectly honest, the addition of Strider, Ghost Rider, Phoenix Wright, and Rocket Raccoon were more than enough for me to go ahead and make this a full-blown purchase. So there's really not much point in me going into further detail about what I like about the game, presuming you've probably already read my text review. For those of you who may not have, it's very simple. The game is fast and fun, if a little bit on the insane side. It's got a pretty balanced and pretty enjoyable roster, and more so now that everything's been tweaked by the developers. It's got good music, it's got good graphics, it's just an all-around good fun game, especially if you're a fan of either Capcom developers or Marvel Comics. But whereas Super Street Fighter 4, the last kind of these games that we got, was in fact a noticeable improvement over its predecessor, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, it's a little more difficult to make that comparison. True, the added roster is really nice. Don't get me wrong, I love playing as Ghost Rider. And it's cheaper to sell it as a $40 game than to release the additional 12 characters as DLC. Don't get me wrong on that either. I'm not saying the math doesn't add up. What I am saying is that there's still a lot of laziness that bounds in this game. Most of the new levels are just kind of rehashes of the levels they gave us in the first game, while some of them are creative, such as the really cool-looking Days of Future Past level based on the comic arc of the same name. There's not a whole lot else that's really that interesting, to be honest. And then there's the other minor details. Again, they changed some of the graphical looks, which really wasn't necessary, and to be honest, was sort of a downgrade. And then there's the character endings. You know, last time we got these little comic panels, and it was perfectly fine, and it suited the mood of the game, and I'm okay with that. But for anyone who isn't the new 12 characters they've added, it's just the same ending. In fact, with the exception of maybe photoshopping in a couple of different characters or whatnot, it's pretty much the exact same thing, if not worse, since some of the endings actually have less dialogue to read. It's like Capcom was just rushing the project out the door. And ultimately, that's kind of the problem with the whole game, is you just notice those little corners being cut. And if you're a gamer like myself, those are the kind of things that after a while will probably bug you, especially since you're being expected to go out and pay full price, well, $20 off, but essentially still full price for a game that you already own. Now, all that having been said, let's cut Capcom a little slack here. There was a lot of hullabaloo when the game was announced because of the additions to the roster or because you're being expected to pay for a new game or whatever. And your own opinions aside, remember that Capcom was developing the game originally. All these characters were going to be DLC, but then of course the terrible incident with the tsunami and the earthquake occurred over in Japan, and that sent A-Team, the developers, as well as Capcom, really far behind schedule, and I think we should give them a little bit of slack for that. I'm not saying we cut them a lot of slack, but at least understand that a terrible tragedy occurred, and yes, that's going to affect the development. That having been said, we would have appreciated the extra time if you guys needed it. If you were just going to go ahead and, I don't know, add some additional movies or make sure that everything was top-notch as opposed to just throwing on what was essentially just an add-on. I mean, true, now we can watch people while we play in the lobby, but isn't that something that shouldn't have been in the first game anyway? Okay, so real quick, let's just go ahead and recap. So as far as positives, once again, as long as you liked the first game, you're going to love this game. It looks great still. It still has a pretty decent soundtrack. It's a lot of fun to play. It's better with friends, and in this case, it's actually better balanced. And moreover, the additional 12 characters are, in my opinion, a welcome addition. But there's still a lot to be said about as far as the game having some negative qualities. mostly just corners being cut. They updated the graphical system on the fighter display, and it wasn't necessary. The endings are kind of a letdown since most of them are the same thing. They added a new mode here and there, but there's really not anything different to the game, which makes you wonder why you're expected to pay full price for a new add-on. Once again though, I do emphasize, this game is great. If you're a fan of fighters, if you love Capcom, or you love Marvel, or you're like me and you love all three of those elements, you're gonna dig this game. At least, I suspect you will. I can't recommend it as highly as I did the first game, which I did give an A. But I'm still going to give it a pretty high mark, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a B. I think it's definitely worthy of that. And if you didn't get the original version of the game, or you definitely want to try the new characters, then absolutely, I recommend it highly. Okay, everybody, that concludes the comic gaming reviews. Hope you enjoyed them, and when I get the chance, I'll have another review up ASAP. Peace out, everybody.
Sonuke ta kao yurelu